Um, Prior to me going to trial, the White Dawski was the attorney for Lynn Davis trial.
Mm.
So in the conspiracy, they played both cases. One with Lynn Davis, they tried to help him to beat the charge, police department, all kind of other agencies, and then they gave me intentionally to further the conspiracy. They gave me the White Dawski, Lynn Davis trial attorney. He did not tell me anything about my name being brought up prior a few months earlier at Lynn Davis trial 8 times. He did not tell me that there was another set of twins that was accused of murder and they got harassed behind the same charge in which I was found guilty of, right? He didn't tell me that Miss Kim Grove had got murdered by the behest of Lynn Davis and the connection with my case. He hid everything. It was a conflict of interest.
Today, I'm going to be interviewing a man who spent 28 years in Angola, one of the most notorious prisons in the United States, for a crime that he did not commit. And when you hear the story, you're going to be astounded. But when you meet the man, you're going to be amazed. So, without any further ado, I want to first wish you all a very happy Juneteenth. I hope that after the show, you will get out and enjoy the many celebrations that we have going on around the country. But first, please sit down and listen to this amazing story. So I would like to introduce you to Mr. Dwayne LeBlanc. Hello.
Hey, how y'all doing? Thank everyone for tuning in. My name is Dwayne Twin LeBlanc, and this is my first time having the opportunity to tell my story. So I thank Miss Rhonda for having me. And I thank everyone from coming in, from my family, from my friends, from all around the world.
Well, thank you first of all for trusting me to be the one to tell your story. We've never met each other before this time, and you had actually reached out to me and told me what you were trying to do, and I just wanted to be able to support you.
Thank you.
So I think we should just jump right in because there's so much to unpack. Just listening to your story, my head was spinning. So I want to kind of ease our audience in on this a little slowly. You're from New Orleans, my
Yes.
hometown. In fact, we're from the same neighborhood. We're from the Lower Ninth Ward. A
So,
lot of people don't know that I'm from the Lower Ninth Ward, but yes, I
wow.
am from the Lower Ninth Ward. I grew up on Caffin Avenue. Unfortunately, my house is not there anymore. The house that
Yeah.
I grew up in was washed away with Hurricane Katrina. And instead of rebuilding a home there, they actually put kind of a sanctuary there where people can kind of sit and reflect. And at first, I felt a little way about that, but I'm kind of glad they did. You know,
Yeah.
and it kind of feels good that we were the last family to live in that spot.
Hmm.
So New Orleans is always going to have a special place to me. And the Lower Ninth Ward is always going to have a special place in my heart. So when you contacted me from New Orleans and told me
Right.
you're from Lower Ninth Ward, that made me even more excited to support you. So can
Well,
you talk a
thank-
little bit about growing up in the Lower Ninth Ward, growing up in New Orleans?
all right. First of all, my family, we migrated from the housing area of Florida housing area, and that was in 1976 where I was born. My 29, his name Dwight is Dwayne Dwight, and my mom, she had 7 kids, 5 boys, 2 girls. And growing up in the growing up in a housing area of Florida, it was very, I would say, very dangerous because I remember when I was maybe me and my twin, probably like 8 years old, was going to school, walking, sometimes busing, and there would be dead bodies on the sidewalk. You know, we would
Hmm.
see that. We would see guys in the neighborhood selling a lot of drugs. sometimes would be shootouts. We'll be in the middle of a shootout, and we'll have to run either home or run towards school. It would be violence in the hallways, project hallways. We would see people stabbed up, people shot up. We would see police officers coming with the ambulance getting bodies out of people's homes. One day, I was probably like 6 years old. I seen someone get stabbed up looking out the window, and I never had a chance to tell anyone that, until recently.
So you
And
actually were a child and you looked out, you were just looking out the window and you saw this happen?
I seen that happen. Right.
That's scary.
I seen the guy rain the guy down, running behind him with a big old knife, and the guy tripped, fell on his stomach, and the guy just started stabbing him repeatedly. It was common to see things like that.
Well, before you go on, I want to clarify for people who are not from New Orleans. When you say Florida, you're not talking about the state of Florida. You're talking about the Florida housing project.
Yes.
Right. And
located.
yeah, we used to pass the Florida housing projects on our way to Caffin Avenue.
Right. So my mom moved out of the Florida housing project in 1986. I was 10 years old, me and my twin, and we moved in the Lower Ninth Ward area, where you're from as well. And growing up there, it was kind of faster. I would see the same violence, people getting killed. You hear about people getting killed, a lot of young people. At that time, it was like the awakening of the crack epidemic. So when me and my twin and I would be going to the corner stores, we would see like hundreds of young black men standing on the corner selling drugs, and we'll be hearing stories. We would see constantly a roundup of police officers coming, jumping, call them jump out boys, incarcerating black men, talking to black men. It would be a lot of friends that we knew, we grew up with. I would see them being victim to the drug culture. But we had at that time we had a close knit family. My mom's side was very, very close. We would all go to the same home every year for holidays, celebrations. So I would say, in spite of all the drama around me, all the hardship, all the scares, we majority of my family is from the Lower Ninth Ward. My father's side as well as my mother's side. So I always just visit everyone, and and that was a high tide of my life. Visiting my aunties, my uncles, my cousins. So I felt loved by them, but it just coming up like that, you cannot trust anyone outside of your family because of the potential violence.
Now, I do want to ask. We're talking about growing up. When I grew up in the Lower Ninth Ward, I have to admit I didn't know it was a dangerous neighborhood until they told me, because it's everyday life. We didn't think about it being the roughest neighborhood at the time.
Right.
But I think you may have had a different experience than I had, because I've never looked out my window and seen something like that. Mm-hmm. So did you really understand how dangerous the neighborhood was when you were a child?
Yes, but it never came, like no one never attempt me, try to harm me, but it was always around me. I would hear people talk a lot about danger. They was always warn us, don't go certain places, don't do that. But it was so ironic that in the daytime we rarely seen violence, but it would happen occasionally. And so a lot of times we will play in the daytime. At night we'll be inside. And it would happen on school days. It would happen Monday through Friday. On a weekend, a lot of time, we're not getting up that early. But on the weekdays we walking to school and we seeing this sense of violence, and I couldn't understand it. My twin and I, we would talk about it, but we was children. We didn't know how to dissect it and understand truly what we was facing with, the type of danger. But it was all around us, and like I say, my parents, they'll reinforce the encouragement, tell us not to get caught up in that stuff. Don't go certain places. watch ourselves. My twin and I will hold each other hand, and that felt it. That was a great way of supporting one another throughout the ordeal.
So as you grew up, did um that guidance that your parents were giving you about staying away from that trouble, trying to stay away from that life, um did that stay within your mind as you were getting older?
Yes. When I got older, now more. Your information about the street, your information about danger is more mature. So I knew that if I said the wrong thing, I would be killed.
Mm,
If I did the wrong thing, I would be killed. And that stuck with me. I had to watch what I say and watch what I do at all times. It's almost like playing chess.
right.
One wrong move, you can get killed. Because all of my friends, and I like to add, all of my friends are now deceased. Like 98% of them, they're dead. And now I get a chance to see their kids and their grandkids grow up. And sometimes
Yeah.
I tell them stories about their father. But most of my friends have died before the age of 21. And I remember my twin and I, we wrote a T-shirt. We wrote names on a T-shirt, and we filled the whole T-shirt up. We filled the whole T-shirt up with names on the front and on the back of deceased friends and associates from all over the city, but mainly in the Lower Ninth area. And we ran out of space. True story. We ran out of space on a T-shirt of deceased friends, of memories
Oh
that we
wow.
had, and we no longer took part of that. That happened when we was probably like in elementary, like 10 years old, 11 years old.
What
Yeah,
does
I'll
it
never
do
forget that.
to a person's psyche to, you're having a t-shirt with the names on it and then you run out of space?
Right,
Or just to know that now, as you think about people you grew up with, many of them are gone
right,
before they were even 21 years old.
right. That was the
What does
norm in
that
New
do to your
Orleans.
mind?
I thought I was next,
Mm.
because you're constantly hearing gunshots. You're constantly hearing and seeing your friends disappear. So it'll be so easy as walking down the street, one of your friends, don't know what they're doing all the time, and you can get killed that way. You can get killed for mistaken identity, you know, uh, in that area during the era, and even today. You can get killed by just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was that much violence. So violence was. I remember looking north, south, east, and west. Violence was in the lower Ninth Ward area around us like a circle,
Yes.
because you had major drug laws everywhere you turn. And I used to name them, and because you hear they name so much, and you will constantly see the violence and hear the potential of violence everywhere. And it was just so sad coming up like that. It's so scary. But I tried when I was a younger man. I was more less of entrepreneur. I used to sell fish, go fish and sell fish. At pump gas. I used to wipe windshield wipers. Uh, hustle that way to cut grass. Um, the crowd. I had many different ways of staying out of trouble. And it's just that trouble was easy to get into. And that's why so many of my friends they made the wrong choices, and a lot of them died. Some of them was in a penitentiary. We used to think that when we stopped seeing each other, stopped seeing my friends, or stopped seeing associates, I used to assume that they was dead. But
Wow.
when I got arrested, falsely arrested, and went to prison, I would see them and be shocked. I'm like, man, I thought you was, you know, thought he was dead.
So he
And
was in prison, but
he
you
was in
hadn't
prison
seen
for
him and you just assumed he
20
was
something.
dead.
Yes, 20 something years. Because when people disappear, you assume that they was deceased in New Orleans. It's a common
Wow.
thing. Yes.
That does do something to your psyche.
Oh yeah. You have to be strong, very strong, and you have to carry that in school. So it was a burden to carry all that stuff, and not having anyone to really talk to. Your parents, they just gonna like, hey, you can't do this, you can't hang there, but they couldn't help. They couldn't protect us away from home, and
Understand.
I don't remember seeing any help at school. Someone you could talk to, even in the neighborhoods, it was no one you could talk to during that time.
So let's talk about, you mentioned earlier that you tried to stay out of trouble, but sometimes or stay at the wrong place at the wrong time, so to speak. Talk about the day that just didn't go well for you. That
Um,
that day when you were accused of something that you didn't do.
yeah, I was in California, and I went there with my older brother, Leonard LeBlanc, with his family and his kids, and we relocated. And I wanted to go to school. I wanted to live with him. I wanted to get away from New Orleans. At this time, my brother, my identical twin brother, he was incarcerated. So he came and got me from New Orleans. He was living in Long Beach, and we commuted there by car. And when we got there, you know, immediately I enrolled in school. I wanted to go to some type of trade school. And when I entered the school, I remember my counselor, Miss Annie Stafford. She took a liking to me because of my accent, and then I'm a new kid on the block. Yeah,
Everybody loves the New Orleans accent.
right. So her and I got real close. We got so close that she used to pick me up from my home from Long Beach. It was like maybe 10 minutes commute from the school. A lot of time I was catching the bus, and she'll pick me up, bring me to school often. And I remember maybe like 2 months of being in Long Beach, I heard a loud knock, like someone trying to kick the door down. I was upstairs. I looked out the window. Soon I looked out the window, there was a gun in my face. Like it was far as the eyes could see, police officers from all kind of departments, looked like the FBI, DEA, Long Beach Police Department. Even had they called it a bird, dirty bird, helicopter in the
Yeah.
air. And I jumped back. I'm like, wow. And I could hear them trying to get in the home downstairs. So my brother woke up. He went downstairs and opened the door, and that's when the police officers came and arrested me. And I'm at constant asking why. You know, they wasn't doing no talking. So
Of
they
course.
rushed me downstairs, walked me a whole block, and put me. That's how many police cars out there. They walked me to an entire block, put me in a police car, and brought me to downtown LA, which is a prison, like a detention or something. And they said I was being charged with a murder and a attempt murder, but they never went in depth. I had to see the judge. So when I got to the arraignment, my lawyer in California, in Long Beach. I mean, I was in LA. My lawyer in LA, he was like, "Man, you're being accused of murder and timber." And I told him I'm in school. I kept telling him I was up here, things like that, and he was like, "You got to take that up with New Orleans." So I couldn't wait to get back to New Orleans. So probably like a week or less, they transferred me to New Orleans. And at this time, I don't know anything about the Lynn Davis case. Prior that this happened prior to me getting arrested. Um, so I don't know anything about the Lynn Davis case. Don't know anything about the twins being arrested. The other set of twins, Nathan and Nathaniel Twin Norwood. I don't know anything about Miss Kim Grove being murdered. All right, prior to all this happening to me, in 1994. So
Oh, they actually went to find you in California.
yes, yes, because there was an investigation about the twins, being the suspect, the wanted suspect of a murder. So they went into all the twins' information and backgrounds in the lower ninth ward, and they came up with two sets of twins. But the problem is, it was two sets of twins that both looked identical. They're like quadruplets. So it was
That
playing a process
is that this
elimination.
picture right here?
Yes, that's just at the bottom with the red on. That's Nathan and Nathaniel Twin Norwood, and that's me at the top. All right. So they were playing a process elimination. They went after the Norwood twins 3 times, beating them and accusing them on a murder and attempt murder that I've been falsely accused of. And then they came after me. My twin was incarcerated at the time. So it got me out of California, brought me to New Orleans. And I didn't know anything. I'm oblivious to anything in regards to Kim Grove's death, the twins' arrest, accusation of them being accused on a charge that I was falsely accused of. and I didn't know anything about Lynn Davis, the police officer Lynn Davis, murdering and for hire Kim Grove.
How is it that you were in an entirely different state across the country, and you would be the one who would be accused of something like this?
Because the link was the twin. One of the alleged eyewitness was a drug user, a female from the Lower Ninth Ward area. Because the crime happened on Tupelo and Villery, and she lived nearby. And she reported to the police that all I knew his name was Twin, and gave a description that fit everyone, fit all four of us. And then from there, the police all started investigating the twins, and they came up with anonymous callers say that his name was Dwayne Twin LeBlanc. And when they got a name, that's when they started looking for me in the Lower Ninth Ward area, and they kept running into the Norwood twins. They ran into the twins 3 times, and they told the twin the first time, both of the twins, Nate and Twin Norwood, they say, look, y'all need to go inside because y'all compromising our investigation. Y'all confusing us. And the arrest happened in the same vicinity of where the crime reported on Tupelo and Villery, because the Norwood twins live 2 blocks away from the crime scene. My mother lived 4 or 5 blocks away from the crime scene. So they would get stopped by Lynn Davis, and then he questioned them. He let them go. Second time they got stopped. This time he accused them. He was like, y'all must be the twins that actually committed the murder. Y'all don't want to go inside. He let them go again with threats. He was always threatening people, bullying, rookie cop. He was always using his badge to commit other criminal acts. So the third time they stopped the twins on Tupelo and Claiborne, which is 2 blocks away from the crime scene. And they accused him of the murder, the timber that I went falsely accused of. And he kept telling them, since y'all don't want to go inside, y'all must be the twins that committed the act. And he went to commissioner beating them. And that's when Miss Kim Grove come on the scene and challenged the officers to stop beating the twins, the young man, Nathan Norwood. And the police officer let the twins go. So Miss Kim Grove, the twins, went home and reported to the twins' mother. And from there, they called a police officer, Turner Affairs Department. They get to the hospital. Twins being band-aided for the. I think one of them had a broken nose, lacerated on their nose from the butt of the gun from the officer harassment. And when the police officers come out and Turner Affairs Department, they put 2 pictures before the twin because he was the victim of this police brutality. But the twins didn't say anything. They shut their mouth. They stayed silent. But Miss Kim Grove printed out the pictures. And when she printed out the officers, less than 24 hours later, she get killed by Lynn Davis hiring a hitman, Paul Hardy, to kill Miss Kim Grove, the silencer.
The painting, that the story that you're painting right now, you're mentioning a lot of names. You're mentioning a very well-known case in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Are you worried about mentioning all of these people right now?
No, because I've been holding this truth for over 30 years. I talked to Kim Grove family about it, but they've been through a lot, and they don't wish to move forward with me to connect these dots and to show these truths, because I have all the paperwork. I have files, like, for example, I have this entire file full of evidence from the Turner Affairs Department pertaining to everything I'm telling you about. I'm sharing with the world. I have documents, proof. I have sealed documents from the courts, from Lynn Davis' trial. I have photos. And my name was mentioned, for example, 8 times at Lynn Davis' trial. I didn't know this. I'm sitting in a state court. Lynn Davis in a federal court. He in a federal court in 1996. And my name was mentioned 8 times, and I'm oblivious to it in the state court. So he get found guilty in 1996. I started my trial in 1997, less than a year later. And I noticed in 1996 when Lindy was going to trial, um, the whole entire police force mainly was in support of Lynn Davis, um, falsely accusing Ms. Kim Grove, husband or boyfriend, of murdering her. So they try to shift the weight to an innocent man, just so Lynn Davis can possibly walk. If you remember the case. So when he get found guilty, I go to trial in 97. Again, I don't know anything about Lynn Davis. Mentioned my name 8 times in this trial. I don't know anything about the twins, the Norwood twins. I don't know anything about Miss Kim Grove death directly. I was hearing it from other people and watching it on the news, but I couldn't make the connection with my case. So I go to trial. They had people who was using drugs as alleged eyewitnesses. There was no physical evidence. There was no cameras. There was no DNA linking me to any case. So I asked my lawyer during pre-trial and trial, I asked him to get my alibi information, school Tennessee record from Long Beach. He kept assuring me, he kept saying things like, I promise you I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna send my private investigator to California to retrieve your information. And that's it on the screen. And this alibi, the school Tennessee record, it states and shows that the time and date that I went into school on the 22nd of July. And then, from August the 22nd. And then the charge happened on August the 27th. That was a weekend. So the weekend I didn't have school. I didn't have school that Saturday, that Sunday. So that Friday I was in school. And that Monday I was also in school. All right. So it was impossible for me to travel by a vehicle to come to New Orleans, commit a murder, and then turn back around and go to school. Right. And the DA did extensive background investigation about, they looked into the airports and see if Dwayne LeBlanc had traveled by airplane, and they couldn't find anything. So it was impossible for me to travel to New Orleans and within one day to commit a murder and then come back on a Monday and enroll in school.
Well, with that type of proof that you weren't there, how in the world could they have found you guilty?
All right, my lawyer, Mr. Jack Dolan, is a public offender lawyer. So when I kept asking him to help me to find, I was 18 years old. I didn't know anything about the law, and I trusted my attorney. I felt like it was an open and shut case. It's that simple. Thinking about my alibi, thinking about my teachers, thinking about the students, the classmates, and the principal. But he failed me. He did not send his private investigator. He never retrieved the documents to prove my innocence. So when I get found guilty on a 10-2 non-unanimous jury, which is illegal. At the time, it was illegal in the state of Louisiana and I think Oregon. And now they passed a law, was recently, like 2 years ago, stating that no one could get found guilty with a non-unanimous jury. They need all 12 people, all 12 jurors. So going to trial, it was much easier for the state of Louisiana to find someone guilty under that non-unanimous system. So my lawyer never retrieved the documents. Mm-hmm. And right after my trial, I like to add this. Right after I got found guilty, I moved on to the circuit court. Now I'm on direct appeal. And the state gave me a lawyer, the judge. He assigned another lawyer to me, public defender. And his name was Jack Dolan. His name was Dwight Dawski. Jack Dolan was my trial attorney. The white dog-skin came to represent me. And I like to highlight who the white dog-skin is. Prior to me going to trial, the white dog-skin was the attorney for Lynn Davis' trial. So in the conspiracy, they played both cases. One with Lynn Davis, they tried to help him to beat the charge. Police department, all kind of other agencies. And then they gave me intentionally, to further the conspiracy, they gave me the white dog-skin, Lynn Davis trial attorney. He did not tell me anything about my name being brought up prior, a few months earlier, at Lynn Davis trial 8 times. He did not tell me that there was another set of twins that was accused of murder, and they got harassed behind the same charge in which I was found guilty of, right? He didn't tell me that Miss Kim Grove had got murdered by the behest of Lynn Davis and the connection with my case. He hid everything. It was a conflict of interest. So he filed 2 assignment errors in the higher court, the circuit court, straight dismiss, hurry up, dismiss my charges. I mean my claims. So I was denied, and then I was sent to Angola. But looking back at all of this, there is a conspiracy, and I just want to share with the world how the government has conspired to keep me silent. No one wanted to help me. It was no government officials from the state DA's office, lawyers. Everyone went silent on me. And that's why I'm here telling my story.